us need look no more. We both found what we were looking for. With a friend to call my own, I'll never be alone. And you, my friend, will see you've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. Ben, most people would turn you away. I don't listen to a word they say. They don't see you as I do. I wish they would try to. I'm sure they'd think again they had a friend like Ben. A friend like Ben. A friend like Ben.
No life. We can't control volcanoes.
I'm here again. I'm back to type another person or people, whatever we want to do.
Another weirdo.
Yes, pull them from the depths of, I don't know where you got the last one from, but I hope this one's just as weird.
Oh, for sure, but less sexy and freaky in a hot way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crispin Glover. Yeah, he's been someone who's he's like an actor, a writer, a filmmaker. I don't know if he makes music too. He's an artist. Here's like just one little kind of thing of his. He does all the things, which often gets attributed to Seven, but I'm not seeing Seven here. Yeah, I feel like he's got that kind of 5-2-2-5 thing that Grace Jones has, where it's like kind of like a freaky ventriloquist dummy face or something, where it's like ha ha ha, like haunted doll.
Yeah. I don't know how much of that he's putting on, but some of the pictures he looks okay and normal, but I think that's from movies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's trying to be normal in those. Oh, that's kind of like a 9 glazed over look.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that does, you're right. There's kind of like a 90 or 3-ish thing about his, but then it's like off kind of.
Yeah. Oh, that's that feels, yeah, I don't know. It's not all there, just not serious or something.
Yeah, he also actually, you know, he kind of looks like is Robin Williams a little bit.
Oh yeah, he's got that similar. You sure he's not sexual social?
I mean, he might be. We can.
Let's
I
see.
don't think
Well,
I landed on an instinct for him, but I just was like, I think he's 5 head with a 2 heart, but I'm not sure.
yeah, he could just be self-pres social too.
Can be hard to tell sometimes with some of the weirder types.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there he looks kind of, that's him as a kid, I guess.
A little baby.
Yeah, he looks like a positive type there.
Yeah. And then he does this kind of brooding.
That's like, yeah, it's like zoned out 9 serial killer.
Yeah, a little bit. He seems like charming though when he's younger. I don't know. He kind of does the same thing that Grace Jones does in some ways, where he
Oh,
like, sort of flips from being totally like where you're like, what the fuck am I looking at, to like sort of vaguely you can interact with him.
yeah. Yeah, there is a rejection piece going on. Or pieces, if it's 2-5.
Yeah, watch this. He looks like a wind-up toy or something. It's weird.
He's only 22 now. He's made 9 motion pictures, including a starring role in a new dramatic feature called River's Edge. Would you welcome, please, Crispin Glover. Crispin.
Hello,
Crispin, how are you?
Well, fine, thank you.
What
Fine.
the-
Good to meet you.
Well, nice to meet you too.
Thank you. You were damn good in that picture.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks.
You've changed your appearance somewhat since that picture.
Oh, yes. Well, I guess I have the long hair, and
Yeah.
I wore Vitalis in the film, and that's so I can play various parts. I suppose you can have your hair
Yeah.
at a long length. You can cut it to be shorter if you need it, and I'm here in my 100% polyester suit to rival.
It's like he's saying really boring stuff, but he's like like animating the boring stuff with interestingness.
Yeah, I'm like, what is he trying to say about himself? Obviously, I can't tell if he's actually nervous or if he's just pretending to be nervous as a bit. It's like I'm getting lost in what's reality and what's like him just bullshitting at the moment. I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He's not as cranked on some of his later interviews, like where he's older, but he's 22. I think, did the guy say he's 22 here?
Hmm.
So it's hard to
Mhm.
tell, but it is kind of an interesting thing because I feel like you can't LARP as this weird for a whole thing, but I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, if it's consistent, yeah.
Mm.
Well, Mr. Newsom is in the polyester and my father wore this in a movie called Diamonds Are Forever. My father's an actor.
Well, he played in several James Bond pictures.
Yeah, well, he was in that one, and he's been in a lot of films. That one and Diamonds Are Forever, and
Yeah.
Chinatown, and
Mr. Your dad wore the suit.
yes,
Yeah,
the
that's
suit. So here I
two. I was just gonna say, yeah, that's two. He's doing the family thing that two's. It's always some familial thing that's passed down. They're like, they want to be, I don't know. I don't know why two fixers do this, but
No, there's something
there's
about him that looks almost too one space or something. Like there's some sort of, I don't know. He kind of has like a weird preachery, like a deranged preacher kind of quality to him or something.
oh yeah, I can see that.
I am, and I've got my patriotic shoes on
Yeah.
For America.
Well, why didn't I realize that?
Yes.
Did you think this movie was going to be such a big hit when it came out? I mean, it just went crazy.
Oh, well, Back to the Future. Well,
Yeah.
I knew that they were.
I do think though that like weirdly 3-Wing 2 likes Americana. I don't know if that's reductive, but I've just noticed it. The Captain America thing.
Planning on it to make money. That's kind of the feeling
The
that you
idea
got
when
while
they
you're
do
working
it,
on. Yeah.
They're planning to make a turn a buck somewhere.
Yes.
But you didn't know it was going to do what? I don't know, what, a couple $100 million?
Well,
or
I
something
guess
like
I
that?
guess I didn't.
And that plays all over the world.
Yeah.
Now, are you known everywhere you go now?
Well, I do get recognized a lot. Yeah, people recognize me. I think it's my nose and my voice.
You have almost a Shakespearean actor look. I mean, you have that kind of
Oh, well, good. Yeah. I've been told that somebody
classic Roman nose, I guess.
Yeah. Somebody was saying that in this new film, I was like Richard III in Rivers of the Edge. So I don't know.
Okay, I think I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if you're gonna agree or not, but it's starting to go the way of 9 for me just because are you getting that too?
Yeah, no, because he's kind of just being like vague and like happy and like bubbly.
And he's also so fucking uncomfortable about anything about him, but if the interviewer can be like, "Oh, this person this thing said this thing about you," or what, or ask you, "What do other people think about you?" He's like, "Oh yeah, this person thinks this and that." He's so much more comfortable to report what other people say about him. So he's trying to do like the 9 thing, which maybe it's just 9 fix, but like he's trying to sink down under having to pick a fucking location, you know what I mean?
Well, that's interesting. He's a lot more spicy in some of his older or his at more adult age ones, but yeah, there's something because you can kind of see this one-ish thing to him. He does kind of look like a 9-Wing 1 when he's not doing like a deranged thing, but it's like
Yeah,
9-Wing 1 but off.
yeah, he's kind of like who's that crazy Drew Barrymore? He's a little bit like her in a way.
Hmm.
How she can get real deranged in interviews, especially when she was younger. Now she has a talk show and she's much more, but she used to be kind of off the wall. that goofy 9 energy, like 9 plus 2.
Have you been back for a reunion yet?
No, I was just thinking about that. I'd like to have a reunion. I've been thinking about a lot of the kids. There were some neat kids that went there, and
They were doctors and
doctors
and that type of stuff.
Most of them were into mathematics and science and stuff. A lot of them.
I really didn't care for that. Huh?
Well, no, actually, I'm fascinated by that. I think science is really, I don't know, there's something very ultimate about science. I think I get excited by that, by little teeny microbes and the giant universe and everything.
It's a little bit of 9-5-5-9 kind of.
Yeah, that's really different than 9-7 fix. Like, yeah, 9-7 is excitement and expansion and what's out there and aliens and all that shit. But 9-5, just the fact that he was like micro and macro. He like wanted to paint the picture that I think about things on both levels. Like, that's an interesting piece to put out there about yourself.
A mind bender, all right.
Yes.
What do you like to do when you're not working? Surfing?
Well, yes. Well, I have I have these hobbies. I make books.
Make books?
Well, I take old books from the 1800s.
Rebind them?
Well, I have rebound ones. I made 9 of them, and they're from the.
Sorry.
That's 5. That's 5 fix. This weird, I'm gonna take these books and rebind, like, and you could tell he like lights up when he's like, I get to talk about one of my weird hobbies.
I think it's like 9-wing-1 too, because I've noticed sometimes like self-pres social 9-wing-1s have this whole like archivist kind of thing about them, like the book, the reader, the librarian sort of thing that sometimes goes on. And yeah, I think it is like this sort of swirl of 5 and 9. But maybe also self-pres social for him potentially. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, he's like in between self-pres social and social sexual. It's like it's one of those two. I don't know which one. Like, he kind of has moments of social sexual, but I do think it's probably self-pres social because he's so terrified to be vulnerable. He doesn't want to do it.
1890s mostly, and I write in them and I draw on them, and then I use some of the pictures that were originally there, and I've made 9. One's called Rat Catching, about this. That's my latest one. It's about this a guy who, it's kind of a treatise for young kids at school on how to catch rats, and but you start to realize.
There have been so few books on that subject.
Yeah, I know.
It seems like a natural.
I know.
I feel like it's 5-wing-4 head center, like.
Yep.
The grimy sewer creatures and like the
Yep. And he has no idea whether it would actually be useful to other people. He just thinks it is. He just thinks this information is useful. Like 5-wing-6 at least has an idea, or they at least track or care. They're like, oh, I got to make sure that like the information I'm giving to people is actually like useful in a general sense. Whereas 5 with the 4-wing is like, so I like rats. Like, what?
even like his sort of science comment, science is ultimate, was kind of also 5-wing-4 in the sense that it was sort of like abstract and conceptual versus like actual. Like, I don't think he was even talking about real science. It's like the idea of science is like ultimate.
Yeah, he wants you to know that he's in a different world when he goes to his 5 place. It's not something that you can really see unless you listen to him. So it's like very 5 with a 4-wing. You're walling people off from your experience.
Oh yes. So but then you start realizing that it goes into different things other than rats, and the animals get bigger and bigger, and you start realizing that something kind of weird is happening, and but yes, I have this other hobby. In fact, I bought you a present here. I make volcanoes, and I sculpt them, and I bought you a present. You can open it since that's going to be your present.
It's not a joke. A big spray.
No. That's a real present. Yeah, you open it up and see what you do is you wind this up.
Can I take this out?
Yeah, you can take. Be careful though, because I finished it. Here, I'll do this.
What is a volcano?
Yeah, this is a volcano, and you wind it up, and it plays music. Oh, go that. But it plays music. It plays. See, there's a little hand here.
Right.
It plays. I wanna. Well, it plays the music, and see, there's a little hand here, and lava comes out.
All right.
And the music is, I want to hold your hand. Here, I want to hold your hand.
Now, is the lava going to come out?
Here's lava. Yeah.
See the lava there?
Yeah.
Well, that's very unusual.
Yeah. That's for you.
Well, thank you.
It's a little glue there.
It's a little glue? Yeah, okay, I'll have that thing. How do I turn it off if I don't?
Oh, yeah, there's a cotton ball to stick that in so it doesn't keep going.
Yeah, well, that's here it is.
Yeah.
That's your switch, a cotton ball?
I mean, maybe he's social last, but I have no idea. But this is so bizarre, and I love it. And I love that it's not finished. Like, he just, obviously, this is not a gift that Johnny Carson is going to want. Like, I think he just wanted to, like, show off his weirdness or something on the, I find this endearing, personally.
I do think he's aware of how people take him, but he just is like, whatever. Like, as long as I can make it work, as long as I can focus on these little like goofy things that I came up with, he's like, oh, here you go. It's like he makes a really good troll because he's not trying to troll. He can just naturally do it by just being himself. It's like I almost feel like the other guy wants to mock him really, really bad, but just can't do it because he's like sweet. There's something sweet about his childlike nature.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that probably does speak to his positive influence, like being a two
Yeah.
because it is like it's an unusual like it's almost like you can't create like a rip. You can't like rip him because it's like what are you even dealing with here? Like how do you roast this guy?
Yeah, you'd have to be subtle, I think, to roast him, like mock him a certain way or something, and then I think he would just do something else weird so it wouldn't even stick, you know?
This is cool. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and I think it's really good what you're doing here. I really like, because my film that I'm promoting, What Is It, which I'm touring around with. Oh, and I'll promote right away because I know that it's a different kind of medium where people tune in, and then it's like if they don't like it, they leave.
He's like already jumping around to like a whole bunch of different spots, but I don't think it's the 7-head thing. It's like I don't even know what he's doing right here. I know I kind of do this, to be honest, but I don't know what it. Maybe it's actually MBTI related or something. Like
Yeah, it still feels like 9 though to me. He's kind of just getting lost in the back and forth. It's not, I don't think he's doing it because it's interesting. He's just trying to lose himself, you know?
Or like frame it, but he's not. He's like trying to frame it, but then he's realizing there's a frame outside that he has to frame and then another frame.
Yeah.
Like that sometimes happens to me, but I don't
We could consider social self-pres for him as well.
Maybe.
Depends on how much he's playing around with self-pres stuff. That volcano thing seemed like it might be.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Keep promoting all the way through.
I will.
Constantly promoting.
But www.crispinglover.com tells where I'm touring with my film. I tour personally with it. I do a show with it. But
it's a film that you directed. Tell me about this film because it's a pretty.
What I was going to say before I interrupted was the film definitely is
just like what I was gonna say before I interrupted or before you interrupted.
He said I. Yeah.
That's funny. Also, just that he likes to tour personally with his film to every place that. I feel like that might actually speak to like that 5-2 aspect or something. It's like his special creation that he's kind of wants to be involved in like the experience or something like.
Yeah, I'm actually willing to call him 5 fix second rather than 2. I think it's 2 last.
I have no idea at this point.
I think I think image is like the last thing he worries about.
Reaction to corporate control of media. So I think it's very interesting that you're doing something similar here, where you're doing something set up in your own house, and
Hmm.
There isn't that corporate control, and I think a lot of things can get excised out that can be interesting in the media because of corporate concerns about things.
You've always sort of done things.
Okay.
Yeah, so now
That
there's a little bit more of the head coming out.
that and it's starting to sound social self-pres with five.
Okay.
Kind of like the critic. He's like criticizing media. He's basically saying, look, I know something about this. I have some expertise about this. You should listen up. And he's kind of doing the, yeah, I guess just we'll hear if he keeps doing it, but it is starting to sound a little bit social
Yeah.
instead.
But he also sort of doing it in a 90 way too, where it's kind of still vague. It's like he's being specific, but like it's not specific.
Yeah, yeah, I think he's trying to get Tom into whatever he's talking about. Like a five with a four wing is a core five wing four is just gonna fucking say it, but he's trying to work him into it, like more like a nine would.
That's a good point. Also, look at their body language. He's like, and
Yeah,
brain's like,
and like I said earlier, when
It's
people have those
nice.
multiple, yeah, and when people have those multiple freaking rejection types in there, you're gonna get different people, and we're already seeing that he has the two funny positive two vibe, and then he also has this, kind of like scrunched up five serious vibe. So it's like, which one of those people are you gonna get that day?
Taking your own route, though, a lot of the time with your art and your
with my I should have
endeavors,
bought some
right?
of my books. With my books and my record and certain things I've done in the media, but particularly this film, which I worked on for a long time. It took me from the first day of shooting till having a 35 millimeter print of the film. It took 9.5 years.
I remember
double withdrawn confirmed. Holy shit. 9.5
Yeah.
fucking years. Yeah, that's definitely was
Yeah, I mean,
hardcore.
yeah, he wants you to realize that he put a lot of internal work into it. Me, or for us as sevens, it's like, yeah, I'm sure we could take our time. I don't know if you do, but I feel the longer I take to do something, the worse like I feel about it. I don't even want to tell people that it took me a long time to do things.
I know, like for my creative stuff takes forever. Sometimes I shit something out, and then other times it's the stuff that I care about. Though what he
Do you
described is
want to tell
actually.
people that?
Sorry, would I tell
Do
people
you,
that?
yeah, would you say that to people like, oh, this took me so long to do, or I've
Yeah,
been
I mean,
waiting
I
on
would
this
be
for 7 years?
honest. Yeah, if they ask
Oh,
me, I
okay.
would just tell them. But he described something that I relate to, which was in the earlier interview. He's like, "Yeah, it started just as a story, and then it just got bigger and bigger." And that's like what happens to me. There's got to be some overcomplication that's going to occur that just makes something drag out if you have nine. Yeah, I don't even know why I'm talking about my creative process, but it's like I'll start with something and then it'll just keep getting bigger and bigger. And I feel like this is where my own type is fucking me because it's like my seven head just keeps expanding and then my heart fix keeps over specifying to the point where then I'm like, this doesn't even make sense anymore, this thing that I wrote, where it's like, this doesn't even actually, it's just a weird collection of symbols in this lofty social aggrandizing condescending fucking thing that people don't understand, which of course I like
Hmm.
that, but it's like, so I don't know if that's what his process is because I haven't watched his movies, but now I kind of want to. But I think
Yeah.
he might be right about social self-pres, even though I can.
And I think that might be the weirdness that he does socially. Like, I guess it could look social last too, but it does seem like he's taking it more serious. Like it could be why he's so different in different interviews because he's like, all right, I got to bring this, social vibe to it. That's what's going to get me my social hit, or I got to do it this way or whatever. So he might be kind of adjusting to whatever social thing that he's tracking.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess we can pay attention too to see if he speaks in like themes or
Yeah.
because like to me at least that's like a big social self-pres thing is like there always has to be like a meaning behind the
Mm.
creation,
Hmm.
or like it has to be saying something like um
Right. Has
but
to be
he doesn't really talk
transcendental is another one that,
transcendental.
yeah, it's social self-pres likes that usually.
I like that, yeah.
talking to you about this film.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you, but I was reading about it a bit today online and how you're touring with it. But this is the movie that we were talking about.
That is years
I think
ago.
On the set of Charlie's Angels.
That's
or
right,
something
which
like
would be 2001.
Yeah.
And I had actually already locked the film at that point, the editing of the film, but it took me all of this time from then because of technical issues until having a 35 millimeter print.
So you wrote this movie.
Yes.
And it's tell us about it's a sort of a pretty unique concept.
Well, it's a long and involved situation, but I guess that's part of what's nice about this show is it's a more genuine, talkative show as opposed to 5 minute segments. But
Yeah, it's even more social self-pres the more he talks. Like, oh, your show, it seems like this show is more of a talkative show where I can kind of talk about, he's like,
Hmm.
he's tracking this thing means this. This is where you can be this way on your show, and this I could be a different way on this show. He's like, he's talking about the structure of social, which is it seems like he takes it serious, more serious than self-pres.
I like doing this with you because I feel like you're seeing a totally different level than it's like we're seeing two. I was just thinking, oh, that's like a withdrawn. He's doing a withdrawn thing of like
Yeah,
I have
it's
time to
both.
take up space, but yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like you keep seeing sort of like things that I'm not seeing, and it's so
Mhm.
super interesting to me where it's like, oh, I just saw the same information, but I saw this part of it. So that's
Yeah, because it's both. Like they both come together. Like the ego wraps up in the instinct. So you're gonna get, yeah. That's cool though that you're looking at one and I can look at the other. We can track both.
that's a little pursed mouth.
Yeah.
That's a with
That's like nine. That's like
yeah, no,
Einstein, nine wing one. Yeah.
originally it was going to be there were two writers that had approached me with a screenplay. They lived in Arizona that wanted me to act in something that they'd written. They wanted to direct, and it was right around that time that I had decided that the next time I worked with a first-time director would be myself.
Right.
And so I looked at their script, and there were interesting things about it, but I could see that there were concepts that could be brought into it that would be helpful. If I directed and did some rewriting on it, that it could be an interesting thing.
Now,
So
all the actors in the movie are
yeah, and I think that he was doing more like social self-presence, some two kind of stuff there too about just inserting himself into it and like the five ownership piece too, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Like I have expertise that I can bring to the film. It's very like five with a four as well. He's just like, look, I have this separate perspective of information and ideas that can really add to this. I could see how people would think that that's seven, but he's not doing it for intrigue. He's doing it for I'm the expert.
he also just has like that terrible five hair. Like what the fuck is this? Like
He had a Karen haircut before it was a Karen haircut.
that. Also, I've noticed
Oh,
like guys, a lot of
that's
guys with five, at least that I recall from my art school days, that I think are probably five influenced, had that like Hitler Youth fucking thing going on for a
yeah.
period. He kind of has. I mean, these
Yeah.
are for movies, but I think he rocks this shit just generally.
Yeah, he's kind of hot there.
Yeah, he's hot. Like he's hot, and but you know that you would wake up and he would be like dressed, like you'd be dressed in some weird outfit, and you'd be eating or something, and you'd be like, "What's happening?" And like
Yeah,
he'd be recording you, and like,
right.
"Oh, I think he drugged me."
There's also the two attention whoring. That's something that I talk about a lot to make a distinction between the two and three, the way that they do attention whoring.
Okay.
Two is so indirect about it, where three, two will kind of like slip it in, or they'll be like, or it's like an offering, or it will be like, well, you just need me. That's why, but they'll insinuate it if it's last in the stacking. Or three is like will point to here's the value you would get if you pay attention to me, or if you this is why I have this value, so that's why you should pay attention to me, where it's more about their own value, where two is just like they're lauding some object or thing or love or whatever thing, and they're like, throwing it at you. Like,
Mm.
take it. And now, since I've thrown this thing at you, now I have free access to you and your appreciation.
Yeah. And I think like even that weird volcano thing was almost like a line to four in the heart space too, because it was like he was, yeah, trying to be like, why would he give that to Johnny Carson?
Yeah, it was a strange,
And-
like, what was he trying to do there? Really, what was that? I don't think he was trying to be entertaining. It just seemed like,
no.
yeah,
I mean, it made him memorable, but I don't know that he was aiming for that or not. Like he's,
I think it's just his something he was intrigued about. And it could just be some sort of higher social self-pres thing that it represents or something like that.
he does dress social self-pres. I will say that, like in
Yeah.
sort of maybe what I was seeing is almost a one-ish kind of thing. Although if he's nine wing one, then there's
Hmm.
that too. But he does have a social self-presy kind of style.
Yeah, he's got the Karen, the Karen hair.
After that, it would have seemed to me to be very hard to jump into the things you're interested in now.
Back to the Future, it was actually very informative to me in some of the things that I'm talking about in terms of propaganda. I know it's a very beloved film, but I was only in the first film. There was
Right, yeah.
they had taken the molds of my face from the old age makeup from the original film and put another actor into prosthetics that were made from my face, and then interspliced a very small amount of footage of me from the original film in order to fool audiences into believing that I was in the movie. Because of my lawsuit, there are rules in the Screen Actors Guild that make it so producers can never do something like that again. I'm proud of the lawsuit, but
Oh, wow.
the reason
I don't even know what that is, but
I think it's social self-pres. It's just their willingness to be kind of harsh and critical, and it's kind of fun for them. Like he said, he's like, and it also too, I think it's too, because he's like, if it wouldn't have been for my lawsuit, this would have kept hurting people. It's kind
mm,
of like putting out the two thing, like, appreciate me for what I did.
yeah, that's a good point. I'm wondering if like I was seeing self-pres social just because he's a gut type, if he's a nine wing one, because sometimes like they get into the self-presy. Sometimes it's kind of a gray area, but he does
Yeah,
kind
and
of.
the craziness, the absolute like Aubrey Plaza type craziness that he was doing at the beginning, that looks like just unhinged self-pres social. But once you see him in all these other different lights, you're just like, oh, he's building some sort of social thing about himself. Like he's the center stage of his social instinct. It's not self-pres. And he's not playing around with it. He's clearly serious about it. Look at him.
And I think that like certain types like fuck over your social self-presence too, like certain like fixes and stuff, because you're not doing it properly. Because it adds like super ego to like whatever your like type is.
No, that makes sense though. The broadcasting your type aspects. That's really what social self-pres does, is that's what fulfills you, is broadcasting the personality. Like that's what he's doing. So it makes a lot of sense.
He also kind of has like as he's aged, he kind of looks like kind of like gnomish, like lawn gnomish. Like I mean, not lawn gnomish, but he kind of has like that gnomish Santa Claus sort of thing that I do put with 259, partly because of like Russ Hudson, actually, because to me, I mean, he
Hmm.
looks a little bit. He's like a less pink cheeked kind of looking, but he kind of still has that like I don't know, like Santa Claus gnome sort of thing going on. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he's trying to do something that's seven-ish. I just don't buy it. There's like he's got the similar, troll Jim Carrey seven face, but
Hmm.
there's nothing about, I think it's just acting. I don't even know how to explain it because he's not doing anything. He's not putting any seven stuff out when he's in these interviews. So I'm like, where's that look coming from?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Do you see it? Do you see what I'm
Oh
seeing?
yeah,
Like
yeah. And I think
Let's see.
974 and 952 are the fucking weirdest nines. Like those are
Yeah.
the two
Yeah.
options for like the absolute weirdest nines where you're just gonna get, and also weird ideas. And I also think they kind of overlap. I think because of the lines, right? I think like five in the headspace and seven in the headspace can have like a thing about little creatures. And I think it's exacerbated by like two and four, because then there's this like weird, like special love kind of thing that goes on. I don't really know where this comes from. Okay.
He's not, there's no way he's a one, right?
I'm open to it. He seems too incoherent, but
Yeah.
we could, yeah, let's entertain it.
Yeah, let's see.
I bring it up is because the reason that I didn't end up being in the film, it's more complex than this, but I was asking questions that the producer's director didn't like. You know, I was a serious actor as well, so when I started
They like edited his ramble, it looks like.
Yeah. They're like, yeah.
He was asking questions they didn't like. Okay. But he's also being very vague. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a mix of nine and one.
hmm.
But
Yeah,
he's so
point is
serious. He has
pretty
the
though.
social self-pres oh, he has a social self-pres serious face on, but he's just not saying much.
Yeah. Hmm.
actually analyzing the screenplay, once we were involved in the project, I had questions about things. And there was a different end. I won't go into so many details about it, but I had questions about it, and it did get changed. And I think there are other people that had questions because there are things in it that could, particularly in this day, be thought of as, well, offensive. And
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, definitely social self-pres and like super ego influence like that. I was not expecting that. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's why I'm just like, where it could this be one? I don't know. His earlier years just makes me think there's no way that it's one.
Hmm. I think it might just be yeah, like nine wing one, and I mean maybe he's
Mhm.
two wing one in the heart space. Like
Mm,
maybe,
could be. Oh yeah, that's a good possibility. Yeah.
those changes happened. It had to do with money and what people were doing, the characters were doing with money. But I didn't stop with it. I said to Robert Zemeckis, I thought it was not a good idea for our characters to have a monetary reward, because it basically makes the moral of the film be that money equals happiness. And
oh yeah, this is social self-pres, so much social self-pres, probably also super ego, but this is fucking, this is the blight, especially as a creative person with social self-pres. It's like, what am I saying? What does this mean? What is the
Mm,
undertone? Here's what the larger story is. What is the understory? What is this conveying
mm,
socially? What is the moral? I hate saying
mhm.
this, but it is like, what's the moral of the story? It's for sure like a social self-pres thing. Because I think a self-pres social nine probably wouldn't give a shit. Reductive, but
No, yeah, they'd be more about their life, what's going on in the daily life and shit like that, where he's zoomed out.
yeah, and also like that's funny that like though it's like money equals happiness, which I don't even know if that's a message that even who cares? Money does equal happiness. I would be a lot happier if I had money. I don't think that that's a
Hmm.
bad message per se, and actually I think the opposite almost. I think where we've last however many years is like people are like almost indoctrinated to like hate rich people or something, where it's like
Hmm.
you should be,
Hmm.
you should be suffering because you have privilege and blah blah blah. So it's like
Hmm.
the fact that he's like money doesn't equal happiness kind of does seem like a two-wing one maybe like sort of influence as well.
Hmm.
I still think five-wing forehead, but this is sort of interesting.
Yeah, this is challenging it a little bit.
Yeah, I just think he's too weird to have like a different head center.
Yeah.
Can't be triple
He's
Plowsy. He can't be 962. I don't
he's
think either.
no. He's making too many like pointed opinions to be 962, even if it's social self-pres. And there's no victimhood. He's not like, I'm a victim, you know, how 962s do.
Yeah.
By having there were various things that were doing it, but by having the son character cheer, by having a truck in the garage, what I was arguing for was that that the characters should be in love, and that the love should be the reward. And
Yeah, there's the two. There's the two-wing one. That is two-wing one, I agree.
And also, I think maybe there's the part of the 514 condemning like corporate America and like capitalism
Right.
or something.
Yeah, he's basically saying like you didn't get it. You didn't understand that I was really just trying to make this about love. Like you people just weren't paying attention to it.
I just want to slime you.
Becca's got really mad at me when I said this, and
Did you see?
Oh, I thought that was
Oh, they got mad at me. They got mad at me. That's a 9.
He yelled. Yeah, he was
It's kind of odd discussing a film that old at this point, but didn't you see at the end the cat?
That guy needs a 3 to come in and tell him what his angles are because it's not that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, look at how he's holding himself. I definitely think social self-pres 9-wing one and like 2-wing one. It's like, yeah, he's kind of giving that preacher thing again.
Yep. And I think just that 2-5 in there is weird enough to make him how he was when he was younger. It's like, yeah.
I can see
That
5
looks,
4. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say that looks like social self-pres art.
Does it? How do you see that?
It's like gray and earthy,
Hmm.
dark-ish colors, but it's giving you a message. There's like there's uh there's words and letters and symbols and there's some sort of message trying to be sent to me. You know,
Hmm.
it's like it's like social self-pres art just makes me want to like pay closer attention. Like I'm supposed to there's a really good meaning here that I have to look closer to find. And that's what this is. This isn't self-pres social, just like here's a wonderland that you can live in every day. You know, they have more of that.
So you're gonna say it makes me want to blow my brains out.
No, I love social self-pres.
I have noticed a lot of people with 5 influence, although this is reductive and people can just bite this aesthetic, also to go a lot of black and white kind of shit. Um,
Hmm.
Lean towards like minimal colors and stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know if
like fungus color. Anything fungi color.
I've fungi colored. Mhm. Oh,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't even look at his website.
Look
This,
at that. That's
this is
social
probably really
self-pres.
good for instinct. Yeah, that does look. The
Hmm.
9-wing one, mountain erupting, the volcano erupting. Oh my gosh, and back
Yep.
to the beginning. Oh, and you know what?
Yep.
That's perfect for a social
Mhm.
self-pres typing because it always has to bookend baby. It has to bookend.
Yeah. Yep.
Thematically, it must wrap up. This is where it
Yeah.
has to end because now we're back to the beginning. Um,
That's funny. Yeah, he took us through the whole cycle.
Everything is
I
fine.
remember when I was like, is he sexual social? Like he's definitely doing something sexual social. So he's in that contra.
I like how
That
he's
is
like, the message about being motivated by money is offensive. Meanwhile, this like poster for is this fucking movie has like a dead woman sucking a shadow's dick with like a noose over like a guy in a wheelchair.
this is 5 with a 4-wing right there.
I gotta watch his movies now. I kind of wish I had watched them first. A family story where a mother is looking for something and finds it. Okay.
Rat catching. That was one he talked about.
Yeah. A story with a happy ending through the perspective of a man's writings about his trials and errors. It's like positive with 594, I think.
Yeah, some of his 5 stuff reminds me of what the hell's that guy's name? The dude that did Salad Fingers.
Oh, David Firth.
Yeah,
I
he's
can't
kind of got
believe I
that
remember
5
his name.
yeah, social 5 thing going on.
David
Social
first.
self-pres, probably.
I kind of want to look just for a hot second. I think it's David first. Oh,
Yep.
oh yeah,
Yep.
he looks. He definitely looks like he's got five. That he
Yeah, he's
must.
pro
Wow. Okay. Well,
yeah, he's probably got three fix instead, but
I won't make fun of him, but he's got a look.
yeah, he's definitely social self-pres, I think, as well.
He kind of looks unwell. Maybe he's got a nine wing eight, nine wing eight with five or something.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, he's less put together than the other guy, less clean, more dirty and grungy and grimy.
Do you want to add anything else, or what do you think?
No, I think we're pretty set on that. The only other option I would say is maybe one wing nine if you really, I don't know, if you magically find an interview where he's all of a sudden like super one-ish, then maybe it's one wing nine, but it seems 925 is accurate to me, social self-pres.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like preachy or specific or frustrated enough to be, I don't think, a core one, but
Yeah, he doesn't stop anybody either to be like a social one is going to stop you and be like, hold on. No, it's actually this way. Even if they're a one with a nine wing, they're still going to be say that.
yeah. Social self-pres one, it's like I just picture that like Jordan Peterson meme that's like,
I love nine typings because it always just hits me out of nowhere. I'm just like, wait, something weird has happened in here that's like doesn't make any sense. I'm like, it's nine.
yeah, I feel like sometimes when I'm typing, I notice the hexad influences first because they're just the part that is most
Same.
interesting. And so I just kind of latch onto them and then I notice the other centers after or like the other influences, which kind of fucks
I'm
me.
the exact same way. I can tell you, yeah, the hexad types right away. I think it's just because we are hexad types. It's like so obvious. Then you're like, wait a minute, why are they like adapting? That doesn't make sense. Oh, they're an adaption type.
Yeah, yeah, that's like literally exactly what happens when you start noticing the thing where it's like, oh no, wait, you're you're bending, you're complaining about
Yeah.
stuff that this type doesn't do, and yeah, it kind of, you're right, it does hit you, and then it's
Yeah. Like when as soon as he started, what did he do? He was like referring to like what other people were telling him he should do at his managers and stuff. And I'm just like, wait, like me as a hexad type, I'm not gonna ever say that in an interview. I'm just gonna be like, actually, I wanted this. That's gonna be my first thing that I offer up.
yeah, I don't know. I guess like nines kind of have it almost like easier than like the nines with the hexad influence because they're still able to like get by.
hmm Yeah, it like gives their hexad permission to go on hold when it needs to.
I also
Core.
feel like sometimes like nines are better able to channel their hexads creatively because they're not being like fucked over by that part of their personality as loudly and
Oh
kind
yeah.
of dissociate into the like fog of creation or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be what they're doing because then they just randomly show up with like completed books and art and you're just like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, that's also just withdrawn too, I think, because but different reasons for doing it because yeah.
hmm
Five's gonna be like just not letting other people into the experience. So he probably
Yeah.
does part of that, but so Crispin Glover, Crispin Glover, I don't know. Social self pres, nine wing one, five wing four, two wing one. Are we good on two wing
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, it's double one. If we were thinking enough to consider him being a one, it's got to be double wings.
Yeah. Double frustration, shadow, persnickety. He kind of does have, yeah, like that Karen-y, straighten
hmm
your doily kind of thing about him. Um,
Yep. And that's probably where the seven energy, the feeling of seven energy resonates because it's got the one and the four. So it's like, oh, there's frustration happening. And really, I just think like the biggest hit of energy you're gonna get is out of the what are those called? Object relations.
yeah, I agree. And it's like funny because some people take such issue with object relations, but it's always attachment types that freak out about them because it's like, stop saying what I'm
Really?
doing is attachment. It's like, well, it is attachment. Like, stop trying to type as a 4. Or stop
Yeah.
getting mad at people for pointing out your attachment. Like, you're free to point out frustration. You're free to point out rejection.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because, yeah, they want you to keep talking about it with them. It's funny. They're like, they do attachment while they're talking about it. Like, and you can catch a 6 doing it too, because they'll try to keep you going. They'll try to keep you arguing with them.
Thanks for the memories, Crispin. Check out Attitudinal Psych. Wait, is it Attitudinal
Yes.
Psych or a Psyche? Psych, right? Or
You could do either. Yeah. One just means psychology and one just means the concept of your mind. So either one.
We both found what we were looking for, with a friend to call my own. I'll never be alone, and you, my friend, will see you've got a friend in